Evening all. I was going to take some photos and do a load of video and all that kind of mucking about, but I just couldn't really face it tonight. I was early shift today, so the idea of typing and stuff didn't appeal. So you've got a video and my dulcet tones in the background. I should try hard not to swear. Anyway, let's get this sorted out and yeah, I shall turn the camera around and start again. Cheers. Right, here we are. This is a 2016 CBR500R, and we're talking about the accessory plug socket, wiring, etc., on these, and the sister 500 F and X models. I presume the X is very similar. I know the F is almost identical. Anyway, here we go. We have got in here, underneath the seat, obviously undo the seat, the 2 points lifted off, that's that. And then you have got some sockets. You've got the big diagnostic socket there that somebody mentioned. You don't need to worry about that at all. Next to it, you've got a smaller socket in here, which is just a 2-pin one, nothing else, just 2 pins. And what looks like a socket on there is actually a plug. Now, bear with me, we go back to my little, you have to excuse the mess in here. It's a pit. Right, this is what we have on the back. It's one of these. It's just a blank shell, plug shell, over the socket. 2 little silicone bungs in it there, look, that keep all the gunk out. Now this is a standard Sumitomo HM type sealed connector, and it's a little bit bulkier than the other Sumitomo connectors, the designation of which I cannot remember off the top of my head, but I'll try and find it before I post this video up. And the main difference between them, they're a different shape, they're not interchangeable. The main difference is the HM has got this clip affair on the side, which, if we go back down here, there we go, you can get these clips in. This one's one with a bit of a cable tie on. You can get them with like buttons that yeah, there's another one there. Look, there we are. There's one with like a button that pushes into a hole in the body panel, and then the clip will just, oh, this is awkward with one hand. Right, there we are, look, it just slides in and clicks. Now, you don't, it doesn't matter what anybody tells you, there is no cutting of the loom, splicing of the loom, soldering or other faffing around. You don't have to do any of that. All you need to do is to get like a jeweler's screwdriver, something long, thin and pokey, and go straight through one of these holes here to push the bungs out of the plug shell. And then you can, let's go back to my little pile of joy here, you can buy these pins and seals. It's like a rubber seal with a hole through it instead of a bung, and you can buy replacement sockets and replacement pins for the Sumitomo connectors, and all you need is one of these crimping tools that rolls and crimps the cable. You can see they've got like a shaped die at the end to give a nice tight crimp on the wire. So you crimp your new accessory wire onto the pins like that, and then they slide in from the back into the plug shell. Now on a Honda, green is always the earth cable, the neutral cable, green for ground. It's the way I remember it. So when you have a look on your back on the bike, on the wiring loom, you can see there you've got, on my accessory cable, which is a factory one, you've got the green cable, which is the ground, earth, neutral, whatever you want to call it, and then a purple and white, which is the feed to there. That's the factory accessory 12-volt socket there in the tail piece, the bit that you can get at with just lifting the key, using the key and lifting the seat off the back. And that comes, it's difficult to make sure you can see. I can see, but obviously, so the wire comes through underneath this tail piece, taped along the frame and back up under here. There's an inline fuse here, and then it plugs in to the aforementioned Sumitomo connector, which is inside this sheath. Now I will see if I can tuck that back down there. There's a little, easier to show you on here, there's a little trigger clip there. So when you want to disengage them, you have to get your fingernail or a little screwdriver or something underneath that, and then it will just slide off the socket. So there you go. For reference, that's the other type of Sumitomo connector, which Honda don't use. I found out the hard way by buying one and finding it didn't fit, but the pins are identical and interchangeable, which is useful. What I have done is made up a little sub harness that comes straight off of my battery there, and I've just blanked it with a plug and the two bungs that I removed from one of the other ones that I have, and that's where I plug in my trickle charger if I need to. That's a permanent live straight off the battery, and the empty plug shell with the bungs in it keeps it nice and safe. So there you go. Once again, underneath the seat, that's your 2-pin switched live connection. So it's only on when the ignition's on, and that's the one that Honda tell you to connect your accessory socket into. So if you want to put a switch live accessory socket underneath the tail, that's the way they do it. I elected to buy Honda's factory one. It's a bit dear, £50 in the UK, but it came with a bracket. You can just about make out there, which obviously being Honda, it fitted straight into the mounting hole, straight into the right place, no mucking about, no painting, filing or anything else, and I just decided it was worth more of my pound notes than it was of my time to be able to just put it straight on. Right, so that's the first bit. Now, on the 500R model, and I believe on the X and the F as well, there is a second switched accessory socket identical to the other one, and it is, if you put your fingers, try and make sure because it's difficult with the light, if you follow the red panel up here and there's a hole there, if you put your fingers through there, you can feel it. Where have we gone? Up underneath here. But whether or not you can actually get to the little tabs and unhook it just working blind with your fingers is another thing entirely. I couldn't, so I ended up taking off the side panel complete to get access, and that's where Honda have you plug in your heated grips, so you don't have to run cables all the way back to the battery or worry about fuses and loadings and what have you. You've got a fused live switched supply up under here that that you can plug an accessory in. So I get if you don't have heated grips and you want to have a socket at the front, or you want to have a supply for your sat nav or whatever else, and you want it at the front of the bike, then that's probably the best place. I would suggest that on the F it must be in the headlamp shell fairing bit, you know, but it's going to be somewhere up at the front of the bike. And again, it's an identical, mine was black rather than clear, but it's an identical. You're looking for one of these. Mine was cable tied on this clip to the harness and tucked up out the way there. So hopefully that will help, and I haven't rambled on too much. I've been nice and clear. I definitely didn't swear, which is unusual for me. So yes, that's a first. There you go. All right, all the best, and yes, cheers. Ta-da.